It's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, just do a deal just like that.
Yep.
Good morning. It is 10 a.m. on Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. Call this meeting of the Wichita County Commissioners Court to order. If everyone would please stand, Commissioner Mahler will give our invocation.
Good morning, everyone. Join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today bringing thanks and praises for the many blessings that you bestow upon each and every one of us. The main one being living in the greatest country in the world and taking advantage of the many freedoms that we have. Lord, thank you for all of the wonderful people that get up every day and do what they're supposed to do, not only to make our country better, but to glorify you. Lord, we thank you for this county family. We thank you for these men and women that come to work each and every day in their capacity and do such a great job of making this county a better place to live. Lord, we thank our first responders and our military for protecting us. Lord, we have so much to be thankful for and so much to pray for, and we just ask that you walk with us, guide us, and direct us in the way that you would want us to go today. We ask these things in the name of your precious Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Join us for the pledge to the U.S. flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the pledge to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, everyone may be seated. Let me make sure we get. All right, no presentations last minute added? All right. Then it is 10:02 and we will open up for public comments. Remind everyone that comments need to be limited to 5 minutes or less and that no action can be taken on any item brought up during public comment. Do we have any public comments this morning?
Yeah, I would like to thank Sonia and Sherry for putting on an excellent health fair this past week. Great time for all of our county staff to go and see what benefits are there for them and other things. It was a good time for all of our county staff. So thank you for doing so much work to put that on. We appreciate that. And also like to say we had our first of 2 homeless coalition meetings last week. Really excited about the possibilities and where that's going. So we've opened up a lot of areas of communication already. So really excited about where that's going to take us. So
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, Sherry and Sonia, thank you for the hard work on that. Do we have any other public comments this morning? All right, well, I have one. So I'm just going to read this. Serving as county judge was not something that I had considered at all prior to 2022. The decision to run for this office was one that was prayed over and made after a lot of careful consideration. Earning the trust of voters who put me into this position will forever be something for which I am grateful, and it has truly been one of the greatest honors of my life. I've poured myself into this job, and I am extremely proud of the things that we, as a court and as a county, have accomplished over the last 2.5 years. I've been blessed with great relationships across the county, working with an excellent group of commissioners and a wonderful staff. With that said, just as clearly as I felt called to run for office, I feel called not to run for re-election. It is not a decision I make lightly, but I am confident it is the right one. I do not yet know what is next in store for me, but I do know that I commit to spend the rest of my remaining term continuing to tackle challenges and keep doing everything in my power to leave county government on a solid footing. And with that, let's get to work on the agenda. It is 10:05 and we are closed with public comment. We'll move on to the consent agenda. There are 10 items on the consent agenda, and I need to bring up something on a couple of them. The first, is Wilmer here this morning? No. I did want to thank Wilmer on item number 3, which has to do with the workers' compensation renewal questionnaire. I know that he did a deep dive into the classification of our employees, make sure that we had everybody in the proper spot. But with some of those changes, especially on the law enforcement side, getting some of the clerical and admin folks out of the law enforcement bucket will help save us some money on our workers' compensation premiums. So I wanted to just recognize him and thank him for that. And then on item number 7, which is the motion to adopt the 2026 sheriff's and constable fees in accordance with Texas Local Government Code Section 118.131 with changes that are listed in the table. Wanted to ask the sheriff's office if they wouldn't mind discussing some of those changes, or Sheriff, there may be a need to even push this item off this week if y'all have other changes.
I think we're ready.
Okay.
Move forward.
GP, you mind coming up and talking through what the changes are and why we're proposing those?
Sure.
I'm a lieutenant colonel with the sheriff's office. One of my hats is the civil division. And what we've done on the changes is kind of getting some that's maybe worded different, like a writ of possession for a residential house is the same thing as a distress warrant, but on the commercial side. And there was 2 different charges there, so we're doing the same thing, and that's why we wound up making it all the same price. There's a couple other things that we've changed in here. One of them, and I'll let Constable Little talk maybe a little bit about the squatters' right and writ and evictions. Now they've every year, you know, the legislature put out a new law or something. So we've got some new stuff on squatters where it's an eviction too. You can go through an eviction. So I'll let Constable Little talk about that, because it's coming out of probably the Constable JP Association has more input on that. The other ones we've changed is just to kind of get everything equal. Like I said, it's not any big changes. I think we're probably at the top limit of fees. We do have private process servers out there that sometimes come in and do it for a cheaper price and you know, steal the business, but that's fine. There's a lot of business to go around. But I would like to say there also is some civil process that we serve with no fees. And if you're not aware of civil process, you might not catch that, but like CPS paperwork, anything to do with CPS paperwork, we do that at no charge because it comes through the district attorney's office. Our mental health, that's at no charge. And we do, mental health is, everybody knows it's quite big around here, so we stay pretty busy with just mental health stuff and paperwork. And that's not even serving where we go out to the facility and serve for a hearing. We stopped doing that. That's now faxed out, so we don't have to deliver that. So that kind of cut manpower down a little bit, but it picked up on the warrant side. So, you know, we get a mental warrant, we go out and serve it, and you know, that's changed too. And I don't want to get into all that, but that's something that we probably should look at. Maybe one day putting us in maybe where we can get a mental health person to come out to a scene instead of the parent or a relative or a hospital coming in and getting a warrant. They go out and then we set up at CRU sometimes 5-6 hours with this guy until they reject him or accept him. And we've tied up, if they're combative, we have 2 officers there. So that ties up a lot of manpower.
Yeah, let's have that discussion offline
Yeah.
to figure out if there's a
Another
way to get
avenue.
home therapy or involved.
I agree. Juvenile papers, protective orders, indictments, and anything criminal related is all free service. So there's a lot there that's not paid for, and it's still got to be served.
So these ones that are increasing, are these the maxes now for those
Sure,
levels?
sure,
Okay.
sure. We're going up, and you know, it's like our online auction. We sold that for years, for 40 years on the courthouse step, and there wasn't a fee. And if for some reason that comes back, I think having that sale should be a fee to it. So there's some stuff that we can look at to raise back up, or, you know, I don't know, I wouldn't say lower, but that's why we've raised them.
Quick question on the writ of possession. That says commercial writ of possession. That also on the residential evictions. What was
Yes.
the fee on the writ of possession before?
The writ possession on our residential's 200. For
It was
writ.
200 before. It's
Uh-huh.
still going to be 200.
We're keeping that at 200.
Okay.
The distress was 125 before.
The distress warrant, which is the commercial side of eviction, that was 125, so I raised that up to 200.
Okay.
So that just makes it even. You're doing the same thing, and of course, on a business writ of possession or distress warrant, there's a lot more to it that you've got to deal with rather than just going out and setting their stuff out on the sidewalk and curb.
Okay.
But that's.
Any other questions for Timmy? All right, would like Constable Little, if you don't mind coming up. If you wouldn't mind, sir, fill us in on this.
Okay, Constable Mike Little, Wichita County Constable's Office, Precinct 1. This is a new law passed by our lovely state legislature. You know, every 2 years we get gifted, and this is one that, you know, this squatter thing got a lot of national attention, and it was mainly problems in other states. Texas law was pretty solid, but this is an effort to kind of buttress it up and protect the property rights of individuals. So under this new law, a person that has a squatter can come to the constable's office, doesn't have to go to the court. They have an affidavit they fill out, a complaint, if you will, and then with that, the constable has to look it over and see that it meets the requirements of the statute. If it does, then we go out and post a 24-hour notice, and at that point, it's treated just like a writ of possession. They post 24-hour notice, and then they don't move. Landlord would go out there, stand by while the landlord moves their stuff out. Now, the deal with this is, if there was an agreement before, because we had one that was, we thought, well, you know, this could be a squatter. A squatter is basically somebody who just comes up and you have a piece of property, and through no knowledge of you, the owner, this person just sets up shop, and you have no idea they're there. And if that happens, then that's what this law is for. But I will tell you that's very rare. In most cases, like we had one where a guy was living on a vacant lot, and he moved a piece of a travel trailer. We're not sure how we're gonna get that out yet, on this vacant lot. And he'd been living there for a long time, over a year.
Wow.
And the owner knew it, but it was just a vacant lot. It was over on the east side, and he thought, well, you know, the guy needs a place, an older man. He's got some infirmities, I think, and doesn't get around well. So he just let him stay there. Well, he started gathering a bunch of trash, and code enforcement started writing the owner tickets. And these tickets are $500 a pop. So then that's when the guy decided, I need this guy off my property. Well, he had already established a relationship with him by allowing him to live there. He knew he was there, and he allowed him to live there. So in that case, he's got to evict him. But in a case where Commissioner Watts owns a piece of property and he drives by one day and he sees the lights on, the smoke coming out of the window or whatever. It's like, who's that? Well, that's a squatter. And so that's where that's gonna come in. Also wanna point out, folks, on the writ of execution there, you'll notice the collection of fees on an execution and order of sale. We had talked about this in 2022, and we were in agreement, y'all were in agreement with us, but somehow this did not make it to to getting posted. And so we kept looking for it, and where's that at? So that's what that collection of fees, execution, order of sale, and what that is, that's so if we're doing a sale, if we have a big sale, then we're gonna have to have our people there, and it's gonna require a lot from us, and it's just basically paying the county for the manpower that we use, and nothing more. It's not something for us to profit from or anything like that, but if we have a big sale and requires us to put a lot of people in there in order to conduct that sale, then it's a way that we can cover the costs that the county is incurring, and that's what that's for.
Any questions for the constable? Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Motion to approve consent.
Second.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon, to approve the 10 items on the consent agenda. Do you have any questions or comments on that motion or any of the items?
On item number 3, Judge, I
Yes,
just
ma'am.
want to second what you said about Wilmer. On years past, I've given him, my part's easy. I mean, I just talked about our watercraft and our airplanes. But Wilmer has the hard part, and in years past, we have been on the deadline to get it in. I gave it to him one day, I got it back the next.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, any other comments on any of those items?
Judge, I'll say he's a pretty good employee. I'll probably keep him around for a little bit.
Another week.
Yeah.
All right, that motion then is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. On to general business. Item number 1, review and approve the regular bills for payment. Verify payroll taxes have been filed and authorize county treasurer to disperse payroll and/or bills within 72 hours via U.S. mail, FedEx, UPS, electronically, or be picked up and acknowledged by a ledger signature in the treasurer's office.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Fincannon, seconded by Commissioner Beecham, to approve bills for payment, verify payroll taxes have been filed, and authorize dispersal of payroll and/or bills. Do you have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 2, discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve and ratify the minutes of the September 16, 2025 regular session and the September 19, 2025 special session.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Mahler, seconded by Commissioner Watts, to approve and ratify the minutes of the September 16 and 19 sessions. Do you have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Item number 3, receive a presentation from Texas Tech regarding jail medical services for 2026. I'd like to invite our Texas Tech folks up to make the presentation. Thank you. Excuse me. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Corey Shank. I'm with Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center.
I'm Kiana Crusoe. I'm also with Texas Tech Health Sciences Center.
All right. Thank you guys for the opportunity to present just our approach to offering health services to Wichita County. Is there a way to this thing work?
Yeah, it's ready to be set up.
Okay. So first of all, Texas Tech has been providing health services in correctional settings for over 30 years with TDCJ. We provide health services in 22 different TDCJ prisons, all in the northwest part, including Allred as one of the units that we work in here. It's a very large unit. And one of the great things about working with, we're a state agency, so we provide the accountability and the stability and the transparency. Basically, everything that we do is open for public record. People can request us. We operate in a way that meets that standard all the time. And then one of the things as we're working into the jail setting, which is different than TDCJ, is evaluating what the jail commission standards are. Meeting those standards is critical, fundamental, and if you don't do that, you're not going to succeed. But then there are certain levels of care that are above and beyond the jail commission standards, and how we operate that as we work with our partners in the sheriff's office and the counties to really identify what the community needs are above and beyond that. So sometimes mental health in certain locations is treated different because you have really good efforts for reentry, like what y'all have going on here. So that's how we kind of come in and assess what your needs and wants and desires are, and we build a platform around that. All right. When it comes to working in the county jails, we've worked with Lubbock County for almost 1 year. We've had very good positive outcomes from there. In fact, I think as we mentioned before, working in county jails isn't something we necessarily decided to get into. We were asked to provide the services at Lubbock County. We thought we were doing really well in our go live. We didn't, we thought, oh, this is good. We didn't expect to do business in other counties. But what had happened is our information was being shared across sheriff's offices about the change and the different things that were being done, how we're keeping our staffing and all this good stuff that we were not even aware of. We started getting phone calls from different counties. We were asked to go to a jail association and listen to how the conference works, and because it's not something we wanted to do. And so when we got back from all that information, one of the things we decided as a university is look at, is this something we can provide where we have work already? Not just with TDCJ, but obviously we're part of the Texas Tech system, which is also part of Midwestern State University now. So that's kind of been our deal, is like, let's just focus on where we have a presence and where we could provide health services to the standard that we would like to deliver. What we do is, another thing is when we talk about cost effective, we're always looking at providing just the right size amount of staffing for your needs and your jail population and comparing that. There's certain, obviously, clinical needs that have to be met. There's recruiting needs that have to be met. Those are all considered, and we're open with our sheriff's office when we start putting together what our pricing model is, and we work really closely with that. And then the last thing on this slide is data-driven. What we do is we're going to look at our outcomes. We're going to provide information to the county and to the sheriff's office to show what our outcomes are, what are our pathways to success, and what are opportunities for continuous improvement. So what we're offering for Wichita County is 24/7 medical and mental health services, dental services, pharmacy, diagnostic lab, mobile, x-ray are all included. And we also have administrative support from our HR partners, risk, quality oversight, compliance, legal. We're a very large university. We work a lot with, in those parameters of risk, compliance, and legal, and we have very large teams to support us through that. We've been doing, I would say for us so far, our work in Lubbock County has not been too big. We had some jail commission complaints that were presented to us, but they were unfounded. But when working 30 years in TDCJ, we're getting lawsuits, we're getting complaints all the time. We've always been able to defend and prove that we're providing good health care just because our practices are always documented and when they go through, do a legal review, they're finding that we are meeting the standard that we need. So we have all that support that's driving us for good performance, that protects us when we have those. And you can't keep someone from filing a lawsuit. You can't keep someone from filing a complaint. But having the data ready or available to respond to the auditor or to the inmate or to the legal teams, that's what we focus on. And then one of the things that, as an academic institution, as a partner within the county, we're looking at opportunities to bridge relationships with Midwestern State and your other technical school here who provide health tech, either clinical nursing, health technicians, and provide an opportunity to build clinical sites for those individuals who are going through their programs, who want to provide health care, who want to be able to provide health care in the communities where they go to school. Give them an opportunity for sites to get that clinical. And I will say, when we work on that, people think it's at the jails, but it is such a good opportunity because it's such a dynamic work site. if you can work there, because always something's going on. There's emergency, there's standard family medicine, there's urgent care, there's emergency response, there's all these different things that you get in a very small, controlled environment. One of the things we like to talk about with our EMTs is, if you learn how to do EMTs on the ambulance, you don't have security there when you're going into a situation. In a jail, you have someone there all the time, the security sheriff's office there. So it is a really good place to learn how to do medicine.
Captive audience.
Yes, sir. And so one of the focuses that we'll do, if we get an opportunity to work with the county, is really strengthen that workforce development, continue to provide stuff for the county. And that's the presentation. Mostly I want to be able to take any questions from anyone in the room. But this is Kiana Caruso. She's the associate director. She works as kind of our lead developer in terms of when we go through implementations and discussions. She works with me. I'm senior managing director, so I oversee that overall. And then we have Tommy Norwood. He's our regional managing director. He's in Colorado on a hell hunt right now. Otherwise, he would be here. But he lives here in Wichita Falls, and he's our regional managing director. He would be the guy running the day-to-day operations, reporting to the sheriff's office.
Do we currently have portable x-ray, Will?
They did come to the sheriff's office.
I knew that was a discussion back several years ago when we were looking at the healthcare thing. I didn't know if we had it currently or not.
As needed, we call them.
Is there anything we can do to do it there and not transport
Yes, sir.
is a benefit,
Yeah, so our two main objectives, besides quality of care, is reducing offsite transportation and providing as much care under the contract as we can. So that's why the mobile x-ray and the labs all under this one contract, so we're not sending it to the hospital and getting claims and things like that. So we want to keep it within that capitated rate and only have claims for specialty and emergency care.
On scope of services provided, your presentation talked about 24/7 medical and mental health services. In the agreement draft, it has it jail level healthcare services taken both preventive and medically necessary, and then lays out some things. I know what our scope is under our current agreement because we've seen it in action. For y'all, what is not covered under the scope of typical jail level medical services?
Any specialty referrals that are medically necessary, and then also emergency care that can't be handled, sending to the emergency. And I mean, there's probably certain levels of procedures we can provide on the clinic. And that's really what we'll talk with the sheriff's office, like what level that, like we have providers that can do splints, things like that, if, you know, the review of the case. But if it's something more ortho related, we're gonna send them out for a fracture or something.
Okay. And on the mental health side, can you go into a little bit of detail about mental health services that y'all provide?
Sure. We have psychiatry and LPCs who provide the Sandra Bland and suicide risk, monitoring suicide when people are at risk of CDO or whatever you're calling it here, constant direct observation. We're also providing support for those individuals. And I think what we're looking at here is continuing to work with the reentry opportunities for them as they leave, helping them while they're in so that they're not exasperated when they get out. That's more of the LPCs, but mostly we're looking at risks for suicide and harm to others, and providing them the medication management and everything like that.
Is it in-person services?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And we also have so all of our stuff is in person with supplement of telehealth as well. So as needed and as expansion. So when we're looking at, you know, one of the things we do at Lubbock, for example, is we have a staffing of a provider, and then we have PRNs. So basically we about have 1.5, but sometimes we need more. And so we just apply our PRN and telehealth to catch up with the backlog. So we have, like at Lubbock, we have a full-time provider, which typically keeps us ongoing, and then we have another 4-hour clinic once a week with our nurse practitioner who does a lot of the female exam, and we have 2 PRNs that come and do weekends. If we start getting a backlog from there, then we just start applying all our other providers that we have in our thing to try to get this knocked down. What we look at mainly is trying to get the backlog down, because the risk comes from the time of complaint to the time of care, right? So that's kind of where we try to keep that time of care down, the access to care.
Okay. Does the Lubbock County program have a jail-based competency
They
restoration
do. We
program?
partner with Star Care, which is the local mental health authority. So that's something that we, working with the sheriff's office, we do here. I know there's a new program with Kyle and his team at the LMH here, and we've already had conversations of how we would bridge and support their efforts in managing those patients. We provide the program, we provide the medical services for the patients that are in that program, and we coordinate with information transmission back and forth. Something that would be very important to us.
Okay.
Adjudication is what we're looking for, right? So
Yeah.
anything we can do to support adjudication.
Okay. I don't want to monopolize. I've got more questions, but if y'all have any, jump in.
So you have very limited experience in jail, just with Lubbock, correct?
Yes.
That's the only current county that you have. But you have a lot of experience in TDCJ.
Yes, sir.
You talked about risk mitigation, and you said you're really successful in that. But I'd like to see actual data on how successful you are. What?
I can connect you. I can't answer the question.
Yeah, I didn't figure you
So
could.
the
It's a lot of
leads and
data,
stuff like
so.
that, I can definitely connect you
but-
with our legal and compliance department. You can ask those questions.
Okay.
All that stuff is I don't know the process, whether you have to go somewhere else to do it or to type
Right.
directly, but we have a process for you to request that information.
Okay. Very good.
Did you both say something? I think you touched on it with that last slide. Obviously, partnerships with Midwestern that's easy. It's part of the system. But our current provider has worked hard and has stood up a good program with Vernon College. Y'all are willing to maintain and build relationships
More than
outside
willing
of the system.
and we're
Okay.
wanting to do that.
Okay.
For every one credential we have at the jail in Lubbock, we probably have a 0.25 of PRN. And so students who are going through the programs, there are positions that you can take and work and help us now as you're going through your program, like medication administration, things like that. Things we don't need a credential for because we train you on, the jail commissioner doesn't require it. So that's kind of the things that we look at. We also look at people who are EMTs, who are going to nursing school, so they're full-time school, so we put them on shifts on the weekends so they can come in and do that. So those are the types of opportunities. We have a specific contact, Rebecca Ramirez, who works with schools. We work with Cisco College and TDCJ. We have the correctional medication aid program. So that's such a really niche thing. In jail commission, you don't have to have a state certification to pass pills, right? So we have it internal. But on TDCJ, one of the state law, I can't remember which one it is, was not even related to correctional-based medicine. They just threw corrections in there, requires it. And so we partnered with Cisco College to recruit and put our people who were doing administrative functions, who sought clinical positions through that program. So we have a history of working with technical and junior colleges to get these technical staff, and then helping them move from their technical position to their RN position. We've developed processes with our team, encouraging them. We've had LVNs at Lubbock County, and they have to take certain days off to go to Sweetwater and then also Abilene Hendrick system to do their clinicals, because where they go to school, that's the only place they can do clinicals. So we support them in that and let them schedule those days off in advance. So we're trying, we're a university. If my boss found out we weren't supporting academic growth, I would probably get called into her office.
And been no changes to the proposed pricing on this, correct?
Not at this time, but we haven't had conversations
Okay.
either. So, and I will tell you, because we're a state agency, she and I are here to answer questions regarding how we would operationalize and support that. If you have questions specifically on the contract, I can take those back to our contracting system
Okay.
department. But those types of things about pricing and things like that, we go through there, if you have questions on that.
Would this proposal work in the same way that we do with our juvenile court? I'm glad you're here. It would be the same type of arrangement that we've been doing. That's a vitally important part of this.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Yeah, we built staffing for the Juvenile Justice Center, and we also went out there the last time we were here to kind of get an idea of how many patients you guys have and things like that. So.
And I did notice that the proposal is built around a census of 718 in the jail and 50 in juvenile, which that's more than full capacity.
We're trying to cap that
Yeah,
at full capacity, so you don't have to worry about that. I mean, it's not something we ever thought of in that world, but, there's a county Montgomery County we're working with now, and their capacity is expanding by about 150, maybe every 3 to 6 months. And so that does
Wow.
stretch your, ability to provide healthcare with your staffing.
Right.
And so we put this in there, and so when we looked at yours, we kind of looked at what is your capacity now? And then that way you never have to worry about if when you go over capacity, probably not a big deal, because you're probably gonna contract out, but it's more like if you're going to have to build another jail or reopen your other building, those, we have to sit back and discuss that.
If we went over capacity, it'd be a big deal to us.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, you should be feeling pretty good
It
about
would be a
that, because
big
we
deal.
maxed it
It
out.
really would.
Okay. Any other questions for them? All right, and I think the plan we're gonna have on for next week for discussion, because we've got 2 great proposals. We'll have discussion, talk through numbers and any other questions, and either make a decision then or get close to making a decision. So that's the plan. All right.
Appreciate you.
Thank you all
Thank
for
you.
traveling in
Paul.
the presentation.
Yeah, I got long arms. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 4, discuss, consider, and/or take action to authorize the county judge to sign a Reliant Energy addendum for the addition of 6 properties to the county's electricity contract. I will tell you, I did not expect this to be quite the roller coaster it became. So, as y'all are aware, the county signed its direct energy contract, which expires at the end of this month, back in 2017. County, and I don't know how it came about, but whoever made the decision showed a lot of foresight. In 2019, went out for bids and came to an agreement with Reliant Energy, which has since been bought up by NRG. In 2019, signed an agreement to take effect October 1st of 2025 to run until 2033. And I don't know if y'all remember, there was a little thing called Winter Storm Uri that
Yeah.
completely upended the electricity market in the state of Texas. I mean, in conjunction with legislative action on it. But so that the prices that were locked in that agreement are, I kid you not, about 1/3 of what they are on the market to go out and get electricity right now. And those are locked in until 2033. So that's quite a deal. But with every piece of good news comes some bad news. In 2019, there was a little building that hadn't been constructed and brought online yet, the law enforcement center, which was not part of the buildings that were in that original agreement. And unfortunately, as much as I asked them to include that price that's 1/3 of the current market price, that it wasn't on the contract, and so they're not willing to do that, which I understand. So we end up in a spot where we are going to save about 20% off of our energy prices for the buildings that were on the agreement that was signed in 2019. But the buildings that were not, we would have to add under a locked-in price under today's prices. So we get 20% back on the old group. It's about 62% increase from what it is under the direct energy contract for the new prices. It ends up being about a 22% increase over our current contract when you put all those numbers in a blender and put them together. Now, of course, we're not going to get those lower rates that we have with direct anymore after this month anyway. And their price, I looked at it, was about 81 cents or 8.1 cents a kilowatt hour. I've looked at these numbers a bunch, which is more expensive than what the Reliant number would be, even if we locked it in under the much higher price for those new properties. So what we have, that was a lot of words. What we have, the old agreement with the very, very cheap rate on most of our properties, but a new rate because we have to bring on these new properties into the agreement, which includes our largest energy user, which is the LEC. Margaret did yeoman's work over the last week putting some numbers together. Y'all have those in front of you. The long list is the properties that we have, what the last year cost was under the direct energy rate, and then that same 12 months over the new NRG rate. And as you can see, it'd be about 250,000 for those properties under the direct energy rate, 208 under the new one. So it's a huge savings even over those lower rates that we have now, which again will be moving up without this contract. The shorter list is the properties that we would have to add, in which this item is dealing with. 12-month summary under what our current pricing is, and then 12-month summary under what the new proposed rate would be with NRG. And remember, that current rate was pre-URI, pre-changes in the electricity market, so we couldn't get anything close to that now, even if we were to go out for bid again.
Judge, what is the 600 Lamar? Is that not considered the courthouse?
It is, and Margaret looked at this for me this morning because I saw that and went, what is that? In the course of doing construction and renovation, I think a new meter was put on. There's two?
That's come up.
The courthouse?
Yeah. So I'm not sure, Jeff, because this meter, sorry, Margaret, correct me, step in if I'm wrong.
Well,
This meter was under the 2017 agreement, so it's not a new meter. I just didn't get pulled in to the 2019
That's correct.
agreement for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Somebody missed it when they did the 19 contract, because this meter is on the 17 direct energy contract.
can we
Yeah,
not push their hand to accept that since it was part of the original
We have a signed
agreement?
agreement with a full
Yeah.
list, and it's not on there.
That's a big
Okay.
user for us. I mean,
Yeah,
not
it's,
as much as the LEC, but still huge.
yeah, it's not a new meter, because we've added no new meters.
No.
There's two different power sources to the courthouse, so
Look at the percentage
So it's
increase.
one
Yeah.
of two.
That's huge.
I mean, we can certainly go back and ask them. If I'm in their shoes, I go, this was an agreement signed 6 years ago. It was sort of incumbent upon the county to realize what its list was at the time, and we didn't do it. So I can certainly ask, but I mean, I can tell you, because the lady said that those rates are they're the lowest she's ever seen in her time working because of when they were negotiated.
But Judge, there's 2 meters at this location, and one's made it on there and one didn't.
Yeah.
But Margaret,
Judge Gossam signed it, saying
Yeah.
it's signed the contract with that listed, that's the problem. I'm not blaming him, I don't know
Yeah.
how
I know,
we get
but
over on the new
wasn't it
contract.
their obligation to list those meters from one? I mean,
I
we
mean, it
didn't
had-
build the contract or
Well,
agreement.
I mean,
But-
but it would have to go through our attorneys,
Yeah.
and the judge signed it, and nobody
Signed
caught
it.
it. So, I mean, I don't know how we can hold them responsible for us not catching a meter missing.
But I mean, truthfully, they're the ones that know how many meters we have, not us. And it took a while
I
for
don't
me
know
to
if that-
understand that we had 2 here and not just one
But
meter.
I don't know.
And this address, you know, has always been kind of screwy. But I thought, Margaret, we had a spreadsheet that broke out those numbers that we maintained for quite some time that indicated, you know, here's the charge and here's how it broke out.
We used to, before we had Munis, we used to, Deb had us do a spreadsheet on every single electricity bill. And, I mean, it's time consuming, it's a lot, we don't do it since Munis, we don't hardly do any spreadsheets anymore, to be honest. Because, that takes care of it, and you can look it up, because prior to that, you'd have to go physically pull the bill and look at the paper. And now you can just click on Munis and see the bill. And so that's never gonna be destroyed, it was gonna be in record retention forever. But the older stuff was put on a spreadsheet like that, but we haven't done that in years.
But why wouldn't we judge with 2 large users, if they won't change the courthouse? Why wouldn't we go out for bid for these properties and see? TXU was one of the driving forces in 2019 that extended that agreement because they were desperately wanting that business, and then they had pushed, and we just fell into a good spot with what we had
We certainly can. The downsides to it are, I can think of a couple. If we have two different entities that we're buying our electricity through at the same time, that just creates some accounting difficulties that can't be overcome. But the other one is that while we go through that bid process, we're going to be paying the direct energy daily floating rate, which is more expensive than even what's being proposed here and locked in. Now, is that worth doing for 6 or 8 weeks if we can find a much cheaper rate? Sure, which we can do, but that is a downside, is that we're gonna be paying two different entities, two different bills, and one of those entities is direct for this case. While we do that, it's gonna be a much higher price for our biggest user.
And I forgot personally to re-sign one time, and my bill the 1 month was triple what it normally was because I didn't sign a contract. So that's the only downside I can think of. We can handle it in the office paying two different people, but
Right.
you
But
don't know what it's
I
gonna be.
remember that discussion because it's very complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those numbers that we were looking at were abnormally low that we had locked in. And there was an explanation. I
Well,
don't
it's
remember what it
nuclear
was.
power. We were
Yeah.
changing over to a provider that had nuclear power capabilities, and they were trying to build that power plant up with the usage.
Well, and back in 2023, there was an energy consultant who came in because he was wanting to talk about potentially helping us put a bid together. And he may have been the one who helped y'all do it, or helped us do it in 2019. And we spent some time talking, and then I showed him what our numbers were, and it's just like, we don't need to waste any more time with this meeting because there's no way I can get you anything remotely close to what y'all have already locked in. But he said at the time it was a weird agreement to have something signed 6 years before it takes effect, and that will run for 17 years after it took effect. It's just a wild deal. We can certainly go out for bid on those 7 meters. I don't know until we've done it. I would doubt that it's going to be a tremendous savings over what NRG is proposing. And it just introduces some complications, which again we can overcome. But
That Teresa Sewell is who originally called on us, and really where we got the ball rolling with at the time direct. But I just wondered what our agent would say if we said, hey, we're going to take especially 2 extremely large meters away from your account and move
Must be a
them.
little negotiating room there.
I would think so, and Miss Lovett was our rep that called on us from TXU, trying to get
I'm
those.
betting that market's a little more competitive now than it was, because those numbers that we were working, which was the reason that weird contract was signed that far out, is because that just wasn't possible. I mean, it was way out of line with what was going on, and I'm betting that all this is leveled out a good bit and more competitive deal. And I'm just guessing.
Margaret, I've noticed that 118578 is on both sheets, and I don't have. Do you have the sheet with the additional?
There's another sheet.
It's not
Is that
on
it?
it's not on the Reliant one. I must have double listed it on the first one with the.
Okay, so we're sure that it's okay.
I'm positive it is not on the contract. I checked again this morning.
Okay.
And Commissioner Watts, while I'm thinking about it, when you asked about those spreadsheets, we don't do that anymore. However, if you get the spreadsheet that I sent the judge, it has all that detail for every single meter we have in it for the last 12 months.
Yeah, we just printed out the summary, but it does have in the spreadsheet itself, and we can send that. It does have the detailed listings for it too.
Because the encore charges are sometimes actually not more than
Find it faster. I remember going through that discussion. It was
So-
extremely confusing.
You've got 2 shown here, one for a 55-watt LED, and it's actually running at a higher energy cost than the 265-watt LED. That makes 0 sense, because
I don't.
typically LED lighting is under
Very
a
low.
tariff rate, and
I would have no idea.
We'd have to look at our direct energy contract.
Way beyond the scope of what I
now that, we know what the locations are on those?
I have to call Encore to get any locations that you need that are not easily, that you can't easily tell on here. But I can do that.
But basically, our decision today is, do we approve adding those new meters under a new rate? Or do we not? Do we pay direct energy floating and go out for, and go through the process of going through the bid? I wasn't here for either one of those, obviously, so y'all have been through that. I'm not sure how involved it is or how much time it takes.
Well, it's complicated from the fact that you're into terminology and all that you don't use on a day-to-day basis. I remember looking at those spreadsheets and they'll cross your eyes.
They'll cross your eyes when you're in a room too.
I would imagine. Well, that Lamar deal, God, that's over a 50% increase.
Well, and remember, it's a current rate that's the direct energy rate, which was negotiated in 17. It's not, we have been benefiting from a long-term rate that was locked in 17. We are going to be benefiting from a long-term rate that was locked in 19. Just these weren't part of that contract. We're gonna be paying a lot more for the electricity for these 7 locations regardless of what we do. It's just a question.
That's beginning, what's the?
October 1.
Oh, that's not far.
October 1? October 1.
Have we covered that in our budget for 26?
That's why I had Margaret go through the numbers.
Okay. These are some big numbers.
It's the savings on the ones that were part of the contract does help cover some of that. The answer to your question, Barry, is that what our energy usage is about equivalent to where it's been. It's covered just barely.
And we've probably got, contingencies that we.
And by that I mean it's covered for what we budgeted, because we always budget safe on utilities. So it's covered as long as electricity.
But why wouldn't we, Judge, go ahead and move forward with this acceptance, but then turn around and take a RFP on these accounts?
Because if we move forward with this acceptance, it's locking it in under the same term as the old agreement. So we'd be locking in through 2033 under this new rate.
Oh, it's a pretty big step.
And to be aligned with each other.
And what is that difference, just in KWHs, the price of a KWH?
From what the direct energy is now, it's about 30 cents and, 3 cents. I forget where the decimal point is. 3 cents compared to this one would be, depending on what the market is today, probably 7.8, 7.9 cents.
So it's that 166,000, that's an annual.
That's the difference between the current usage of the last 12 months.
The number's
versus
468.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
And on that other sheet, it's a reduction because it's going from 3 cents down to 2.6 cents.
Sounds like we could need to build another nuclear plant.
That 7.8 is what you're guessing today, yes?
When she.
And I don't know that you're gonna reach out there and get bids right now. There's nobody gonna come in with a bid anywhere close to what we were at before, so.
No.
The
That's not-
chance.
For a commercial, that
No,
7.8 is
I'm
probably.
just thinking but, I mean, it's possible to probably get a nickel, and that adds up. I
You think
mean,
so?
On our 2 biggest accounts, our 2 biggest accounts are not on the deal. That's the sad part of it. The LEC was, it
Yeah.
came in later, but the courthouse should have been part of that, or one of.
Half the courthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't fault the LEC, it didn't exist.
Well, you think that if we would make them that deal on the LEC, they'd go ahead and honor their commitment for the courthouse?
I can ask, my guess is no, because their answer's gonna be, it's not honoring a commitment, it's,
Well, if you don't have anything, you don't have any competitive bid against it, there's not much incentive to do that. It's been
So
my
under
experience.
what rate was
You
it
don't
being
ever
charged at? Then
Huh?
all this time, what rate?
the direct energy contract had it.
Okay.
The one that was signed in 2019 did not,
Not.
so it just didn't make
So
it
it's like
into that.
.39 something is what direct energy has been charging us for that. And now it's gonna be .78, .79, basically.
I'll be glad to pay you Tuesday.
It's, I mean, there are no good options really, from the standpoint of something that's inexpensive and close to what we've been paying.
Well, that other rate, it's just not there. I mean, you
Right.
know, it's,
Yeah.
Electricity
That was
market's
too good to be
Texas,
true,
yeah.
and well, it's,
you know, I used to buy
Ran its
25-cent gasoline, but I can't find that now. And, probably wouldn't want it if I could find it, but
Do y'all remember how long the bid process took when y'all went through it back in
we
September?
didn't go through the bid process. They brought it to us.
They
I
brought
don't
their
think we did.
proposals to us and said, here's the rates. I saw, showed you what
Yeah,
Willie had, you know, put together. What Margaret's talking about is the combined total of all those, including Encore charge as well, because I think those prices were all under 3 cents, 2.9 to down to 2.22.
yeah.
And Willie could explain it to you way beyond your ability to comprehend, and I do remember that. It was a complicated deal.
There, I mean, and I will say this, there is, I'm trying to think, there is some risk in if we take time to do it and an event happens that causes energy prices to go up. Now, we've cost ourselves that potential nickel, but that's always gonna be the case when you're talking about the energy market.
It's a commodity market.
But you're,
Yeah.
what you're basically telling us that for the courthouse meter that was missed, that's gonna cost us 25,000, and the LEC is gonna be 166,000.
Yeah, that's the difference. That's the increase.
And again, it's the difference between the current direct energy rate, which doesn't exist anymore, as of the end of this month. That was to be able to compare something to know, are we budgeted for it and are we gonna need to make budget amendments? This current rate doesn't exist as of the end of this month. It was just a comparison tool. Now, the question is, it might save us, again, if we get something down to like 7.2 cents or 7.3 cents, what's that difference gonna be? You know, $15,000-$20,000, but it's
You
not.
got $134 reduction right here.
But, and nothing in the new revised 2019 agreement that said, I mean, the 17 agreement was carrying 17 meters, let's say. Nothing indicates 17 meters are also moved to the new agreement in 2019 without the listing of those addresses?
I didn't see it. I'll do another thorough check before signing off on anything to make sure, because obviously gonna hold them to what the agreement was, and I think it's fair to expect them to hold us to what the agreement was.
That's why you have an agreement.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
And she did put it through and didn't say, I mean, I really believe her that she put it through and just tried to get it to push through. And then she came back and was like, oh, that didn't work, I tried, and I didn't think it was gonna work, but I went in and tried, and they kicked it back and said no.
Well, I need to know from y'all if we wanna go out for bid or go ahead and move forward and lock them in.
I mean, how is that 7.9, I mean, where is that at on the, it's been some time since I've looked at commercial rates.
It's cheaper than what Direct's was for the same day and what Direct is looking at for an October charge, which was the 8.1, I think.
And potentially locking this in for multiple years and seeing what the rates go up
Yeah,
over the next 6 years too.
and we face going straight to market rate next week
Yeah.
if we do nothing
Right.
today.
And you probably gotta have, you said it, some catastrophic event to really move it. I can see it floating along and trading in a pretty narrow range until something moves it.
Yeah,
And,
supply shock for natural
yeah.
gas or oil would do it.
would do it.
Data centers coming
Yeah.
online across the state would do it.
That's the other thing.
But it could go
More
the
and
other
more
way if
demand for
modular
power.
nuclear comes online. I mean,
Yeah,
it's an 8-year decision though, so I understand if,
yeah. Wish we had more time.
it kinda hit us out of
Yeah, this is.
nowhere.
And you and Matt have discussed this, and I'm assuming your recommendation is to move forward with it.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to get a
Yeah.
better deal. Um,
If we did
But
it, I think it'd be
I-
marginal and the risk is,
See, and that's what I'm worried that if we send it out for bids, we're not gonna save ourselves 2 or 3 points, maybe. And I don't know that that's not doing anything for us either.
But yes, I mean, it's my recommendation at this point to move forward and add them on. But if that's, again, I'll go out and do the work to get the bids if that's what we need to do.
I'd still like to,
What is
I kind of
the,
agree with Jeff on that one thing though. If we had a contract and all we were doing was renewing that contract and the same were to flow through, then they should have been on there, not left off.
But we weren't renewing the contract, we were going from Reliant to Direct Energy.
With the same list of properties.
It should have been the same
And then
list,
Direct
yeah.
Energy to Reliant.
And,
but
and if there was one property that had 2 meters, I could see it being,
but,
whoever flowed that through was at fault.
but wasn't that wasn't a change of companies, that was a merger of companies, correct?
Yeah.
And
Wasn't there, didn't they acquire, Reliant, acquire
It
Direct
was.
is
No,
how
but
that?
I'm saying we used Reliant until 2013. In
Mhm.
2013, Direct Energy got the bid, and when they redid it, I guess is when they have the list, it's on the list, on the 2017 contract, I got it this morning, it's all on there, and then in 19, a contract was signed to go back with Reliant, starting now, and it is not on that list. That 1 meter is not on the list.
And we
There should
can,
only be 6 that we're adding, we're gonna have to add 7,
Yeah.
because that's not on there.
and we can add another ticket and try to get that 1/3. I mean, it's worth a try.
I would try it. I would go ahead and try because,
Well,
and there was one energy company took over another, I remember that. And they took over all their contracts, so if that was the reason it didn't flow through something on their end, I would say,
It was a
it'd be
clerical
worth
error, I
trying.
would imagine.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll be happy to do that. And Melvin will get to enjoy, he and I can both fine tooth comb the 2019 agreement and see if it refers back to the 2017 one.
But you're not gonna get any relief on the LEC.
no,
No.
our part, because that, we weren't paying the energy on that until we remodeled and the federal partners moved out.
So I don't see a reason not to move forward. So I'd make the motion.
I'll second.
That would be a good
But-
compromise, I
Judge.
think.
But I,
Would it be better worded if we said 6 meters instead of 6 properties?
Well,
I mean, I know it's 6 properties, but one of them's a firing range and the
it,
other one's the
it
LEC.
would, and it's funny, the 6 that we can be approving can be with the exception of that other one, and let us take the next week to
Okay,
see if that 600 Lamar one at the top is, if there's a way to get it pulled back in, and then I can let y'all, we can put an item on next week for one additional one and have that discussion again.
And I would assume the key are these are, I guess, meter numbers. I mean, that's the key.
Yeah.
But that's more of a identifier than even the address.
All right, so what we have is a motion from Commissioner Fincannon, seconded by Commissioner Beecham, to authorize the county judge to sign a Reliant Energy addendum for the addition of 6 meters to the county's electricity contract. Those are on this sheet, and that's everything that's on this sheet that Margaret sent out, with the exception of that top line that ends in 118578. Morgan, let's go ahead and go out for next week to have that additional one on here, and I can update the court then and see what we can get done this week. All right, that is the motion. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? Kurt?
That does include the new purchase of the building on
It does not.
Not
We'll
yet.
have to bring that one on too.
Yes.
But that one's a new one, so it's sort of moot. We're locked into a tremendous.
We don't own it yet.
I know, but it's forthcoming, I
Yeah.
hope, so we mentioned that.
Yeah, when it gets brought on, we'll get it lumped into the
You
contract.
get
not as a-
100-watt bulb.
Move it to render and.
Any other questions or comments
Handle
on
power.
that item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 5, discuss, consider, and/or take action to award the employee health insurance bid. All right, I'm gonna actually do everyone's favorite, a lengthy layout here. All right, first of all, I know that there's a lot of interest in this item, as there should be. A, it's a large dollar amount that the county spends every year. B, nothing that we do, with the exception of probably sending people their paycheck, directly impacts their lives, like health insurance. So I'm just gonna do a full layout here. Why did we start down this road of even going down this, looking at this? We currently spend as a county $10,000 a year for each employee for health insurance, which is a little over $5 million. The actual cost of the claims that are paid out on that has been less than 80% of that amount for a few years now. So that is pretty much $1 million a year or more that we are donating to Blue Cross Blue Shield. And at some point, because fully insured health insurance is easy, it's the autopilot option. But after seeing those claims consistently, historically, I believe we can do better, and I've told this court, and that's why the court authorized going out and seeing what we could do. Felt it was worth it to taxpayers and employees to see what we could do. This isn't a decision here. Change is not forced upon us. But if healthcare cost inflation continues as it is, I don't think we're far from a scenario where this court's going to be forced to either require employees to pay more or to pay something for the health insurance, or make the benefits package less generous. I just think that's where healthcare inflation is going. So what did we hope to accomplish, and what do we hope to accomplish with this? The mission was twofold. They have an education of a core group of county officials and employees, that's the benefits committee, about the intricacies of the healthcare costs and insurance world, and to see if we could do better. We got 5 responses back. Members of the committee who have now spent over 25 hours just in committee meetings since this spring are all much more aware of the issues we face. The healthcare cost model and the traditional health insurance model is expensive, terribly inefficient, and has incentives in all the wrong places. The reasons for that are complex, date back in some cases almost a century, and are frankly beyond the scope of Wichita County alone to fix. However, I do believe that it's incumbent upon us to do better if we can, which is why the committee recommended to the court to go out for an RFP, and why the court did so. We received 5 responses to our request for proposals on finding a broker who could present a self-funded proposal that would provide better health care at a cheaper price. The committee scored those proposals and did a round of interviews with the 3 proposals which scored highest after that initial scoring. After those interviews, the committee discussed each of those proposals and came to one final recommendation. So where are we with that recommendation? The committee overwhelmingly agreed that we should move to a self-funded model. And though we were impressed with different aspects of each proposal, the committee also overwhelmingly agreed that the proposal from Employee Benefits Consulting, EBC, was the best one, and it is our recommendation to the court that it select EBC's services as a dedicated benefits consultant to develop a self-funded health plan. There is, unfortunately, a complication. While it was the committee's hope that we could do this in time for a January 1st, 2026 rollout, I and other members of the committee have considerable heartburn about the feasibility of designing a plan that will provide commensurate benefits to our employees as our current plan, educate our employees about this shift in their benefits, and get everything in place to roll out in less than 14 weeks. Additionally, the rules around the bid process made it impossible to do some of that work to develop a said plan until after the court makes a selection for a proposal. This delay, coupled with the delay incurred when we had to reject all bids and start over in the process, is a challenge to getting a timeline that works for a 2026 rollout. Therefore, what I am asking the court to do, and it's going to be my motion on this, with, I believe, the backing of the committee, some of them are here and they can talk and speak up if they want to, is approve the EBC bid and authorize negotiations to take place to see if a plan design or rollout for 2026 is doable, or absent that, work with EBC over the next 12 months to design a plan for a 2027 rollout. If it's necessary to wait to do a rollout until 2027, then next week the court can approve a renewal with TAC on our current fully funded plan for the 2026 year. That's a lot. Let me give the members of the committee who are here, if they want to say anything about this, give them the opportunity to do so. I know we've got questions. Be happy to answer questions and then take it
I
on.
don't even know what we're voting for right now.
Right,
I mean, we don't even know what's in it, so.
Right.
And that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Because, like he said, and the key thing of what he said is he couldn't reach into any negotiations until after we approved which way to go. There was I'd say we had a real strong committee that, and I was one that, I would say most of the committee was real reluctant on any of this, because health insurance for our employees is huge. It's like pay. It's a great benefit, but our ultimate goal on that committee, and me being as a commissioner, is to look out for our county employees, look out for our benefits, look out for what it cost us, but also look out for the citizens of Wichita County. And what we've been doing health insurance wise, truthfully, once you're involved in all these meetings and seeing what's going on, and a shout out to Kelly back there, we learned a lot in this committee about how the insurance world is working, and there's no incentives for anybody to save any money, and it just keeps rising the cost of it. Ultimately, what that's doing is making our taxpayers pay more and more money if we want to keep what we have. Eventually, there's going to come a point where we can't keep taxing it at the rate that it's going up. We all went through all these meetings, we all listened to it, and by far, I thought switching to a different model was better for our employees and the type of service they get, and the type of benefits they get, and better for our taxpayers. That was ultimately what I thought. The timeline issue, we were very concerned about that. We called EBC back in to go over some things with them. They assured us that they could put this together in time for this year. They have a staff that is an advocacy to work with the employees here that'll come in and help teach everybody how to switch this over, how to make it work. Basically, you call them with anything you have, and they take you the right direction, which way you need to go. They're an advocate to help you out and help you get through any kind of medical issues. But they have a large enough team to do that. Right now, we don't utilize that with TAC at all. We don't reach out to them for assistance in which way to go. This company really emphasizes that to help the employees. I thought that was a great selling point for them. The fact that they have such a large team makes me think that we still might be able to get this going right now.
We got a month before open enrollment.
Correct. And but we got a lot of other people here that were on the committee. We were all real hesitant about that until we called them back in and talked to them. And I still think I really wish that we could have all been in these meetings together so you could all hear what was going on and hear everything, but that's why it's a committee.
I know, at the onset, I made my opinion known that when we selected somebody, that I thought we should have a workshop, a Friday work session to discuss. I mean, having a vote on it without knowing anything about it, I'm not there yet.
Okay. Well,
I'm
and
sorry.
that's really, I'm just showing,
I mean,
just
I don't,
sharing some
I
things.
don't disagree that y'all probably found the best option. I know y'all worked hard on that, but without knowing, how can I vote on something I don't know anything
And
about?
I wouldn't want to vote on it right now either.
The challenge, Commissioner, that we've run into is, as part of the proposals, we had sort of, I mean, a number of the proposals had plans that were built similar to, but the benefit structure similar to the one that we have now under under the TAC plan. The challenge is in the details of actually, one of the big reasons that you go to a self-funded plan is you can build a plan to exactly how you want it to be
Right.
and pay accordingly. From everything that I can tell, and I discussed this with Melvin last week, there is not the ability for us to really do that, because that would be considered almost a negotiation, which can't happen until the court selects a bid process. I think that's backwards. I think it's really ties our hands to be able to make a wise decision, but I think it's where we are, which is why what I was going to propose, and why what I'm going to ask the court to do today is to select one of the bid proposals so that can work to try to develop that plan and then actually bring something back for the court for a final yay or nay or a let's wait. But if that's even a step too far, I understand. I understand.
I mean, that wouldn't be a step too far if you're going to select one of the 5 that made proposals to you and let them develop what these costs could actually be and what that entirely means to us, and then bring that back to see, do we want to go?
Is that the way we want to actually
business
go?
with them?
And that's what, to answer your
And
question,
I'm
that's the
fine,
problem.
I'm fine with going down that road,
That's-
but it
right
sounds
now,
like we're
we
trying
don't have
to,
a benefit
we're
plan.
trying to rush through something and get it done before open
No.
enrollment happens in a month.
What I'm doing here and what I'm gonna ask the court to do is what Jeff just said. Let's
Okay.
pick a consultant, again, the committee was, not unanimous, but nearly so, on who was the best consultant to reach out to and do that. See if we can get an actual plan document, all the numbers and everything, back to the court to actually have that discussion of what the employees' health benefits would be. And then if we can't do that, or the court doesn't feel comfortable with how quickly that would happen, we renew with TAC for another year, and then use that much longer runway to develop a plan for a 2027
That
rollout.
sounds like a much better plan than
Well, right
trying to
now,
vote on
there's
something
not-
today.
No, and that's not what he was voting on today. Right now, there's not a
But,
benefit
but it was
plan.
all, we can do this before open enrollment starts in a month, and that was the way it was presented. And man, that's rushing things without
Right now, there's
having,
no benefit
having
plan.
anything I can even ask questions on
To
at this
compare.
point.
That's not
So-
what, that's not what, my motion, which I haven't made yet, but
Okay.
that's not what I'm gonna be asking the court
'cause
to do.
I know there's a lot of concern on our employees' part for what we're
And-
gonna do, and
I-
I'd
and
like
I-
to be able to ask some questions.
Sure, and I've spent a few hours this last week meeting with some employees who had legitimate and understandable concerns, and walking through that with them. But I completely understand, that's why I'm not asking the court to make a final decision for, yep, we're moving forward with the 2026 rollout, and that's what we're doing, because right now, there's not something to put before y'all to do that. What I am asking.
And I do trust the committee, y'all did hard work,
The
and
best
y'all,
broker
I believe y'all
is
did.
basically all we're doing,
Yeah.
so we can come up with a benefit plan.
I'm not faulting your process, I'm just saying,
And it's
I'm
been
not
a-
there yet because I haven't seen anything.
There's several people in here that were on that committee, and it was
I know what
it
y'all
was a
did.
pain.
So, let me ask, there are a couple of members of the committee who are here. Does anyone want to add anything to what I have said and to what Commissioner Buchanan said? Do you want to?
Me too?
That's up to you.
Okay,
Who's standing up?
I'm standing up. Serious. Yeah. So, yes, we served on the committee since April. Lots of hours, lots of Fridays with all of us around the table. There was a vote a couple weeks ago about this item and if it could be done in 2026, 2027, or 2027, excuse me. We spoke with Rachel and her team because they were the ones that the committee is leaning towards. And she does have a very large team. She does have an integrated process. The program itself was agreed on by the committee as a whole as being something better than TAC. And that was on the basis that we returned 1.4 million roughly over the last 3 years to TAC and just the cost of premiums alone. This would save both the county and it would also save the employee. Now, when we took a vote a couple weeks ago for the committee, we had already spoken with Rachel if her team could implement it by the end of 2025. She claims that she can. She, like I said, she's got a large team. We took a vote as a committee. 2 of us voted that we need to wait until 2027. And I know that's beyond the scope of what we're discussing today, but that was the decision that the committee had made, is everybody voted for to implement in 2026, try to get through open enrollment and get all that out. And then 2 of us voted to delay it till 2027 or not do it at all.
I'm looking at 4 people right now that's gonna be doing most of the open enrollment. What do y'all say?
Well, I will say under
Hold on.
the change, they would not be doing most of the open enrollment.
Okay.
It would be whoever.
Whoever does.
But there would be requirements for the open enrollment. So we would have new payroll codes, we would have changes in the procedures for how those are going to be implemented. So every year we get an open enrollment packet and we have to verify that to what they have, to what we have into the Munis system. And so with this, you're gonna have an open enrollment packet coming from Hickenbotham and you're gonna have an open enrollment coming from if we went to EBC. So you'd have 2 that you're having to go in and verify. And between Tanya and my office, that's a 2, 3, 4 week process.
But
Yeah.
with this company, they did have they have some nice integrated systems to work with our software. So that was a good thing also.
So
It's, wrapping a bow around it, it's pretty clear we want to change. But there's
I
all
don't
sorts of-
disagree with
there's
that.
all
I
sorts
do
of
not
concerns
disagree
about
with
the
that,
timeline.
but
yeah, and looking at the premiums, looking at the coverages and all that, that's gonna be what Judge speaks with EBC about.
Well, Matt, what is I still have a hard time or difficult time understanding what makes the difference. I understand how Blue Cross Blue Shield works. They lay out the plan, everybody's got it, they've got history, they charge us $5 million. We only spend $4 million on our employees going to the hospital, but we don't get anything back.
Right.
well,
Under this type of plan, what occurs?
We basically get a rebate back.
At the end of the year,
Mm-hmm.
to the county,
Mm-hmm.
to buy down insurance costs for the next year.
Or to
I just-
reinvest it into county operations.
Yeah.
just,
So if we only spent 3 million, let's say it's laid out for close to 5 and we only spent 3, they'll actually rebate us what?
They'll rebate us.
Well,
A
so look,
percentage.
So the way that a self-funded plan would work in this scenario, Commissioner, we'd have certain fixed administrative costs. We're paying the third-party administrator to do the claims. We're paying the broker or whoever to put all this together. We're paying a prescription benefits manager. All of these individual pieces that are just lumped into the Blue Cross Blue Shield, we pay those administrative fees to them on a certain basis. That's money we're going to be paying out regardless. That's probably close to about $1 million. The rest, we're also paying for insurance to essentially cap a level of what we are gonna be on the hook for as a county. So if we have a year where a few employees have terrible medical costs, we're buying insurance that once they hit a certain threshold, the insurance kicks in and we're not responsible for anymore. That's called stop loss insurance, and we're paying a fixed fee for that. Those are our fixed costs, largely. The rest is us setting aside money to pay for the claims that come up as they come up, because we're paying, we're self-funded. So what we are doing, for us to budget and to do this well, we would have a certain max claim level of risk we are willing to take, and we're setting that money aside and budgeting for it. Whatever's spent under that amount of money is money that we can then pour back into either the plan, to our employees, or however we would choose to do that. And so while rebates can be a part of that, and they are through prescriptions and mainly through prescriptions, it's largely not us paying someone else and then getting a rebate back. It's us paying ourselves or putting the money aside to meet
Yeah.
those claims as we have them.
If my memory serves, the first few years I was on the court, we were at 120+%.
Yeah, we were.
So there's going to be years, we luckily, we've got younger, healthier people now than we did 8 years ago.
And some of it too is, and this was true of pretty much all of our proposal responses. There's no incentive for our insurer to go out and negotiate for lower costs right now, because
No.
what does it matter to them? They're getting our premiums and they've got certain thresholds they have to hit anyway. If we are paying for that, we've got incentives to utilize good quality folks, but that are cheaper than other options. And we've also got incentives to go out and negotiate better rates than the insurance company does with a lot of physicians and providers. And so you've got this two-step there of utilization and what it costs and where we're sending people.
Who negotiates those rates? Our consultant
Yeah,
or?
the
Okay.
broker / consultant.
And if we are not able to get this set up by 2026, TAC did offer a 0% increase for next year. So there would be no increase in cost.
Okay.
But TAC did also say there would be a substantial raise next year.
We keep hearing that same
Yeah,
phrase
they've
over and
been
over
saying
again.
that
Potentially.
Yeah,
But
potentially.
since we've been underperforming in the pool, or overperforming, I guess, more so,
They would like to
then
see
there
this.
could be a potential that it'd be negative next year. But if we take the action today to have EBC come on as a broker and get them by 2027, there is a potential for more of a savings at that time with them.
So, and we're not talking about our ancillary benefits. I see our good folks from Higginbotham in the audience. This, well, all we're looking at is health insurance at this time, keeping the ancillaries separate. Because if we do move forward for 26, it's gonna be confusing enough with the switch over. The last thing we need to do is to also add that on into the mix too. So, anything else?
So,
Any
Not
questions
me.
for
Any questions for me?
Matt?
no.
Any other folks that wanna make a comment that were on the committee? Don't have to, just asking. Okay. Any other questions, from commissioners? I guess let me actually throw out the amendment language, or the motion language, and
Okay.
then we can have more discussion on that. So it is gonna be my motion to approve the proposal from Employee Benefits Consulting and authorize the county judge to negotiate with EBC on an agreement to serve as our dedicated benefits consultant to develop a self-funded health plan. So that's gonna be my motion. And I am saying that I'm going to come back to the court next week to update on the status of those negotiations and ask for the court's blessing to either approve an agreement or, at that point, because of the timing, to reject, to approve an agreement, and then at that point, we can make a decision on if we're gonna go with TAC for 2026, because we weren't able to get something that's in place that we're comfortable with for a 2026 rollout.
I'd like,
Before you move any further, I want to put on record that I do support Matt as far as the timing. I think we should push it out if we can. I think that's, I like where we're headed, but I do think timing is a big issue. And I agree with him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now, I think everyone thinks the timing is an issue because there's not there's a plan, but it's not the plan that we're happy with to show the court.
and I would like to say that to the court and the people here. I don't want us to vote on a plan, moving forward with any plan, unless we see a benefit plan, what we have
Yeah.
moving forward, compared to a benefit plan, what we have right now. That, I agree with that
No,
100%.
no,
I want our employees to know what we're getting. I mean, and there was I will tell everybody, there's some issues right now as far as, the county right now has awesome insurance. We have a $700 deductible. it's getting to where that deductible is really hard to pay for, and that deductible is
We have
probably.
an internal $700.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's probably gonna be changing somewhat, and even if we move forward with the plan, it's probably gonna change. Some shape, fashion, and the original plan proposed that came through was a $5,000 deductible. And that was one of my biggest deals, for our employees, we need to figure out a way to get that back down some. That's too big a jump, I think, for 1 year.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I mean, can it not be done the same exact way?
well, that was the problem. We
Ours,
could,
we have a $3,000 deductible.
What
We
I'm-
buy it down
buy it down.
internally to set.
what I'm saying though is, we could not, what the judge said a while ago is about he couldn't talk about that plan and negotiate anything until we moved forward. So our hands were tied at that point. We couldn't research the plan anymore until we moved forward with which company we thought was the best to handle. So that's what we're trying to do right now, is get that benefit plan together so we can compare the two.
And to your point, Commissioner, the county currently budgets $1.5 million for your HSA plan.
Right.
And we use about 200,000 a year. So that budget can be put towards adjusting those premiums. And for the 5,000 that Commissioner is speaking of, that is the out of network deductible. The in-network was still close to 700, 750 around there.
And that's what we're trying to do, is come up with, and that's part of that building a custom plan for our county,
Yeah.
because we have a pretty healthy county.
Well, what's that network look like? So that's,
Yeah, we don't
none of us
know.
none of us have seen that.
EBC is very well built in our community already. And
Well, to tell you this, TAC takes care of 40,000 lives in the state of Texas. EBC is taking care of 200,000 lives. So they have quite a network. It's
Yeah. But we haven't had a chance to see that.
No,
No, we
and
haven't,
that's,
we haven't had a chance to ask them questions. So if we do it that way, I would like to see us have a work session with them Friday. So we can ask questions.
we can't because of the 3 business day posting rule now at this point. But we can certainly, what I will definitely commit to, we will have a workshop before the court is asked to vote on, to make a final vote on an agreement, which will probably have to be next week. Will have to be next week because of posting rules, but we can do that, and I think that's absolutely fair. Because again, what we have spent,
Because we've
25
got
plus
early
hours
court next
doing-
week. We're court on Monday next week.
no,
Or is it the following week?
it's, we've got Friday voting on the
Friday.
court next week.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's my motion, for us to approve the proposal and authorize negotiations with EBC, and then come back to court next week with an update on that and a potential agreement to say yea or nay to, and then make a decision on TAC. So for employees that are watching, nothing with your health insurance benefits is changing as a result of this motion today. That's a discussion that will still have to happen again next week on what a final decision is gonna be for 2026. Should I make that abundantly clear? Because I know how things travel around here.
And I'll second the motion.
Okay. All right, there's a motion by me, seconded by Commissioner Watts, to approve the proposal from EBC and authorize the county judge to negotiate with EBC on an agreement to serve as our dedicated benefits consultant to develop a self-funded health plan. Are there any questions or comments from anyone regarding that motion or the item? Okay, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Morgan, if you'll go ahead and make a note. A lot of interest in that item. Understandably so. All right, item number 6 is discuss, consider, and/or take action to award bids for the following properties owned by Wichita County. And there are 2 listed in the table, one at 1001 MLK Junior Boulevard and one at 1220 Iowa Park Boulevard. Morgan, I don't have that information in front of me. Who were those bids from?
The same person.
Yeah, I just don't have the name. And to remind everyone, these were the two bids that we opened up in court last week.
And no bid was received for the third address, and it will be
Correct.
bid on at a later time.
Her name is Stacy, C-E-Y, Jenkins, Jenkins.
And what were the amounts on those two properties?
Both of them were for $510.
510?
Yes.
Okay.
Judge, after much discussion and Melvin looking into that, and there could be a possibility that later down the line that we may need to modify or do something to assist with the sale of these properties. We're selling them without warranty. What we own is what we're conveying to them. And so, because there wasn't good, true description, there may be issue that we have to again sign off on a transfer at a second time. May or may not occur, but it would be my motion we accept these bids as long as Melvin continually okay with it.
Yeah, we may have to do a correction deed in the future, but.
Okay.
I
Just
don't
a bridge
see
we
why-
cross when we
I don't
don't do
see
it.
why the county would refuse to do that if we had to, and I sent the deeds to you,
Okay.
Judge, so.
Okay. All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Watts, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon, to award the bids for both of these properties to Stacy, to award the bids that we received from Stacy Jenkins for both of these properties. They were the only bids received. Do you have any questions or comments on that motion or the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 7, discuss, consider, and/or take action to assign a project number to the first floor HVAC modification at the courthouse and authorize Harper Perkins to proceed with the necessary engineering and architectural work. Commissioner Beecham?
Yeah, Judge, this is a two-part project. We have funding set aside in this fiscal year to begin the project of changing out the air handlers on 1, which affect offices on 1 and 2. We've added scope to that project. It'll be taken up in next year's budget, which would be to add reheat in order for humidity control in the lower first floor area. Therefore, it's going to take some engineering and architecture, not much architectural work, but a lot of engineering work to design that system correctly for that area. So it would be my motion to approve going forward with that project. Since
And
it's budgeted already.
Yep, I was gonna say, I did double check to make sure any costs associated with that in 2025, permanent improvement can handle, and we did budget in 26. That was part of the capital
Yeah,
improvement plan.
and hopefully be able to move on and encumber those funds, at least for the chiller side of it in this fiscal year.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon, to assign a project number to the first floor HVAC modification at the courthouse and authorize Harper Perkins to proceed with the necessary engineering and architectural work. Have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, the motion's before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 8, discuss, consider, and/or take action to assign a project number to the second floor HVAC modification at the courthouse annex and authorize Harper Perkins to proceed with the necessary engineering and architectural work.
This, much like the other item, is a budgeted item for next year. Since we're rolling out this first HVAC project, we might as well do the engineering simultaneously and move forward with that project as well. It's an all-inclusive second floor rebuild, very similar to what we did on the first floor HVAC. So new ceilings, et cetera. So there is some architectural work to be done on this one as well as engineering. If you go over there right now and open the air handler door, it creates a wind tunnel, so we know we're starving the unit for air, et cetera. Lot of issues. So it'd be my motion to approve.
I have one deal on that. When we did the first floor over there, we ran into some asbestos when we were unexpected asbestos when we started taking all that ductwork down.
And we
Can
may,
they research more this time so we don't have unexpected.
Yeah, well, we got, for one thing, we've already got a lot of ceilings pulled down in what used to be the ag extension area. We've already pulled ceilings down so we can get eyes on a lot more of it than what we had previous. So, yes,
Second.
there likely to be some asbestos
I
removal.
figured there would. I just like to have it in the plans up front, maybe.
Yeah.
So second.
Okay. We've got a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon to assign a project number to the second floor HVAC modification at the courthouse annex and authorize Harper Perkins to proceed with the necessary engineering and architectural work. Do you have any questions or comments on that motion or the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 9, discuss, consider, and or take action to approve the purchase of planter boxes and plants for a landscaping project at the courthouse in the amount not to exceed $10,000 to be paid from permanent improvement with lines determined by the county auditor. Commissioner Beecham.
Yeah, Judge, this is continuing with our landscaping improvements around the courthouse. We did have money budgeted for this fiscal year to do additional landscaping. What this does, it does a couple of things. Large planter boxes adjacent to the front steps that
On the
would-
south side?
Yeah, the main steps, yeah. We've looked at fencing options and different things to cover up the ugly of the air conditioning units and generator, none of which are great options because of security issues. So what we're looking at doing is going with an 8-foot by, is it 24-inch wide?
2 by 8.
Yeah, 2 foot by 8 foot planter boxes with planted with grasses that grow about 2 foot, but they're so frail that you can't put stuff in them without them falling down. So they do meet with our security issues. To kind of camouflage the ugly, if you will, and also beautify that area. And also on the far wing walls, the blank walls, bringing in some height with 2 36 by 36 round planter boxes on each side with Italian cypress, which grow tall and slender. And what was the other plant? Magnolia, yeah.
Dwarf magnolia.
They're dwarf, but there's teddy bear magnolia or something like that.
Sorry, teddy bear.
Yeah, which are a typical magnolia, but they're made to grow in pots. They'll get about 15 foot, but they bush out and have the pretty white magnolia flowers. So I think we can do all this for under 10,000. We're working on shipping and et cetera with the planters right now. So
I'm all on board with it. Matt, can we use permanent improvement for plants?
Supposed to, yeah. It's not a capital.
is it
But
not?
we could,
Okay.
the boxes.
Yeah, the
The
boxes.
boxes we
boxes
can.
are, yeah.
Okay, well, the plants are only, it's 1,000 of that.
I think on that, just change that motion to exclude the plants part.
Okay.
Just, and then,
Just the planters and, yeah.
And you can drop it
Any-
to 9,000, look like you're saving money.
All right, 9,000.
And we can sell the pet bears.
So that'd be my motion, to drop it to 9,000, that's
Since he
fine.
dropped it to 9,000, I'm willing to second it.
we've got a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon, to approve the purchase of planter boxes for a landscaping project at the courthouse in the amount not to exceed $9,000 to be paid from permanent improvement with lines determined by the county auditor. Have any questions or comments on that motion or that item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 10, receive update on courthouse renovations and county courthouse annexes. Commissioner?
Owl Park, we do our final punch walk on Wednesday. That project is, for all intents and practical purposes, done. So we'll be able to close that out and pay the final contingencies back and everything, so in that project.
All right.
And I guess we're on board with the new project for the juvenile center. I think I reported last week on our walk with the engineers. I think all of our reports came back good, and I think we've extended that offer and are moving forward with the purchase, so.
We're moving forward with the closing process.
So, fun times. Get rid of one project, start another. If you look around the building right now, we've got a lot of stuff going on. We've got the steps that are being refurbished right now. That's gonna be a really good project. It'll stop the building deterioration underneath the steps and also make the courthouse look a lot better too, so.
Steps already look better.
They do look better.
They look quite a bit better, as a matter of fact.
Excited about that. We're doing the concrete retaining wall over on the north side. Looked at all the sidewalks that's been done in the last couple of weeks, looking really good. Security project. Yeah, the big one. The big security project's going well. They're finishing up the controls for the west door, at which time, when they get that finished, we can issue new credentials to those that have access to that door, and we don't have to walk around the building anymore. So it was delayed, not their fault, more our fault, because we wanted to tidy up that door. So we did in-house. We took the tile up and re-leveled and floated the floor correctly so it would look nice.
And it does look good.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
Kudos to Gilbert and the guys that put that together. So they did a really nice job putting that back. So.
Boy, it's a tremendous improvement coming in the entry door out there, the way that's been cleaned up and the planters and all. I couldn't imagine it because I've not been that way in a while with the door deal going on, walk around, it's like, wow, that really made
Yeah, if someone wouldn't have sabotaged our plants, it'd really look nice, but somebody came in and pulled all the buds off of them one night, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
If only we had cameras that would.
Yeah, someday we'll know.
And quick update.
really improved this old building, I'll tell you.
The Burke office, I should have plans that I can share with everybody here pretty quick. They're just changing one more little thing on them. That's, they look pretty nice. We should be able to move forward on adopting which way we're gonna go pretty quick here forward. I think we have it, I think it was put it on the agenda, but it's coming up here pretty
Yeah,
quick.
I think that first one in October. All right, any other questions on that item? Well, the fun has just begun, but it's 11:48. This time we will move into closed session. Two items: discussions regarding the installation of external and internal security devices at the Judge Arthur R. Tips Juvenile Justice Center. This meeting is closed pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.089, deliberations about security devices, and for briefing and discussion regarding the selection of a broker to represent the county in the potential sale of the Sprague Annex building. This meeting would be closed pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.072, deliberations about real property. If you have not been cleared to stay in the courtroom for closed session item number 1, please vacate at this time. Go.
Hang on just a second.
Oh, okay.
You've gotta unmute the Zoom feed. Unmute the Zoom feed.
He's got the lead story on everything today. He was the one here.
Good, okay. All right, it is 12:49 PM. We are back in open session. Item 1 is discuss, consider, and/or take action on the installation of external and internal security devices at the Judge Arthur R. Tips Juvenile Justice Center.
Judge, I'd make the motion that we move forward with option 3.
Okay, and that's
Be funded how?
permanent improvement.
Fully out of permanent improvement?
Make sure I got the number here. All right, so at a cost not to exceed $368,933.77. All right.
Can you repeat that number, Judge?
Yep, we've got a motion by Commissioner Watts to select option 3 from Digi at a cost not to exceed $368,933.77 to be paid out of permanent improvement.
Fiscal year 25?
Yeah.
Second.
Okay. We have any questions or comments on that motion or other discussion? Okay, that motion's before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 2, discuss, consider, and/or take action to select a broker to represent Wichita County in the potential sale of the Sprague Annex building.
Judge, I'd make the motion that we enter agreement with the Brittany Ratliff Group.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Watts, seconded by Commissioner Beecham, to select the Brittany Ratliff Group to represent Wichita County in the potential sale of the Sprague Annex building. Have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion's before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Anything else? Nope. With that, it is 12:51. Court is adjourned.
Made it before 1 o'clock.